They say that in the vast silence of the Australian desert, when the wind moves like an ancient breath and the stars shimmer like embers of another world, a voice can still be heard. Not the voice of man nor beast, but something older. Something that remembers. The people of the Dreamtime call it the owl's voice, a spirit that watches both the living and the land of shadows. Long before time was counted in days, before rivers had names, and before the night sky was mapped by constellations, the world of the Aboriginal people existed in a sacred space called Dreamtime. It was not merely a past. It was, and still is, a living dimension that weaves all creation together. The Dreamtime is the story of how the earth, the sky, and every living creature came to be, shaped by ancestral beings whose footprints became rivers, whose voices became wind, whose dreams became reality. Among these ancient beings, few were as mysterious or as feared as the owl spirit, known to different tribes by different names: Bubuk, Mopok, Dulgarl. The owl was not just another bird of the night. It was a messenger between worlds. For the Warlpiri people, the owl carried the essence of women's wisdom, the guardian of sacred knowledge passed from mother to daughter, generation to generation. For the Noongar, it was a spirit of warning, a presence that called out in the night to tell of approaching danger. And for others, the owl was the watcher of death, the being that guided souls from this world into the eternal dream. Its eyes, they said, could see not only through the dark, but through time itself. Each call of the owl was believed to echo across both the waking world and the dreaming, a sound that could summon memory, guide the lost, or warn of imbalance in nature. To see one near a campfire at night was never ordinary. It meant the ancestors were close, watching, listening, remembering. But like all spirits, the owl was not easily understood. It was both light and shadow, protector and harbinger, a bridge between comfort and fear. Across the vast red plains of the outback, the Aboriginal people lived in deep harmony with the land. Every sound, every movement, every bird held meaning. The owl was unlike any other. It hunted in silence, its wings whispering through moonlight as if it moved between worlds unseen. And to the elders, this silence spoke volumes. They said the owl's eyes saw truth without judgment. It did not ask why something was done, it simply saw what was. In this way, the owl became a symbol of truth, unspoken, eternal, and often uncomfortable. Some legends tell of the Dulgarl, a spirit owl that took the form of a woman during the day and an owl by night. She was said to wander the bush, guiding the lost or punishing those who disrespected sacred lands. To cross her path without reverence was to risk being taken into the dreaming, never to return. Others told of the Mopoka, whose mournful cry, Mopok, Mopok, was said to echo before death or tragedy. Yet in many stories the owl's cry was not a curse, but a warning, a final kindness from the spirit world, allowing those who listened to prepare their hearts. To the Aboriginal mind, life and death were never separate. They were threads of the same web, woven by the Dreamtime spirits, and the owl, perched at the edge of both realms, was their eternal weaver. Even the patterns on its feathers were said to hold meaning, markings shaped by the sky spirits themselves. When the moonlight touched its wings, elders would say, "Look closely, for the ancestors are painting again." Science tells us that the owl's eyes reflect light perfectly, that its face funnels sound, allowing it to hear the faintest heartbeat of a mouse in the dark. But to the people of the Dreamtime, this perfection was no accident. It was evidence, proof that the owl was built not just by nature, but by spirit design. Its silence, its gaze, its shadow that falls before it lands, all were gifts from the dreaming, meant to remind mankind that knowledge must come with respect. That wisdom, when misused, turns into warning. Even now, when the night spreads over Australia like a black ocean of stars, the owl still calls. Somewhere between the gum trees and the desert stones, its cry echoes, haunting, ancient, alive. Modern science studies it as behavior, instinct, survival. But to those who remember the old stories, it is something deeper. It is memory itself. Because the Dreamtime never ended, it flows through the land like invisible fire, through rivers, through sand, through the hearts of those who still listen. And the owl remains its messenger, reminding humanity that not all wisdom comes from words. Some truths are whispered only in the dark. In Aboriginal culture, every creature has its totem, a spirit link between man and the natural world. The owl totem belongs to those chosen to carry knowledge, to see beyond illusion, to understand that what is hidden is often the most sacred. To carry the owl totem is not an honor to boast of, but a burden to bear. It means seeing what others cannot, hearing what others ignore. It means being the keeper of truth, even when truth is painful. There is a legend told among the Wiradjuri people of a young man who mocked the owl's call. He laughed at the elders' warnings and called the night birds foolish. But that night, he dreamt of a world covered in fire, where rivers turned to ash and stars fell from the sky. In the dream, an owl stood before him, its eyes glowing like twin moons. It said nothing. It only stared. And when he woke, he found his camp deserted, the fire cold, the sand untouched. He was still alive, but something inside him was gone. He had seen truth, and it had changed him forever. This is the power of the owl of the Dreamtime. It does not punish, it reveals. And revelation is something few can bear. The Aboriginal elders often say, "The owl does not hoot for everyone. Its song is not meant for the careless ear. It calls only to those who are ready to listen, truly listen, to the heartbeat of the land." Even today, in the remote corners of Australia, there are those who refuse to harm or disturb an owl. They leave food beneath the trees. They whisper greetings when it passes overhead. Because they know the owl does not forget. It sees beyond this life, into the great dreaming where all things return. And perhaps that is why, even to the modern traveler, an owl's gaze feels unsettling. We see in its eyes the reflection of our own smallness, the reminder that time and existence are far older than our understanding. When you stand beneath the Australian sky and hear the call of the Mapoki echo across the desert night, remember this: you are standing not in emptiness, but in memory. You are surrounded by the whispers of creation itself. The owl watches still, from the trees, from the shadows, from the space between dreams. Not to frighten us, but to remind us that the world we see is only half the story. The owl of the Dreamtime is not just a myth or a symbol. It is a question, a reminder that wisdom often hides in silence, and that silence too can speak. When the Aboriginal people say, "The land remembers," they mean that every rock, every breeze, every feather carries the echoes of those who came before. And perhaps the owl, with its silent wings and eternal stare, is the keeper of those echoes. It guards the boundary between what was and what is yet to come. It reminds us that to dream is not to escape reality, but to shape it. Because in the Dreamtime, the world is reborn with every thought, every story, every sound, and when you hear the owl tonight, wherever you are, know that you are hearing not just a bird, but the voice of something ancient, watching over both the living and the dreamers. This was Australian Aborigines and the Owl of the Dreamtime, another mystery from the world of owls. Subscribe and join the quest.